Hello, my miraculous friend, and welcome to another episode of the Magnify Your Miracles podcast. This is Reverend Francis Faden, and I am so grateful that we get to spend this time together helping you magnify your miracles. If you have been feeling unsettled, if you've been feeling worried, if you've been feeling troubled with all the energy that's going on in the world right now, I have something I want to share with you that's been really helpful for me. So, everything that I share on the Magnify Your Miracles podcast is meant to uplift you, to inspire you, to help you to take a step every day to really have a more miraculous life. And when outside circumstances are happening, it can feel really, really challenging. Well, it feels that way in our own personal lives. So imagine what it feels like when it's happening more on a global stage. And that's what's happening at the time that I'm recording this is there is a lot of uncertainty that's happening, especially here in my own country in the United States. There's a feeling that people have of just not feeling like they're on firm ground, feeling very settled. People have been reaching out to me, wanting to do an appointment with me, looking for that sense of reassurance. And I am happy to do appointments with you to give you that sense of reassurance so that you can hear from your own energy, from Mother Mary, from Yogananda, from whoever you connect with, that you're okay, and to give you specific guidance as to what you can do to not only help yourself, but to help what's going on in the world right now. There's very specific things that you can do that will make a difference. And it all starts with you. It starts with you taking really good care of yourself and taking care of your mind and taking care of your heart. Really, really important. We want to remember that we're still manifestors. We want to remember that even though things might be going on the outside, we are still manifestors and we have the ability to change our focus and to change the course of our experience. We might not have any control over other people and other things, but we always have control over what we are thinking and doing and where we're putting our energy and our attention. So I wanted to share something with you that's been really helpful for me lately, what's been helping me deal with all the uncertainty and the kind of up and down energy that I've been experiencing, especially when a lot of it has been for me personally really frightening, really, really frightening, bringing up a lot of things. And I've talked about that before, but I've also been finding myself like what's helpful and what's not helpful. And I've always wanted to share with you what I've been finding helpful. So before we do any of that, let's take a deep breath together. Breathe in the energy of expansion. Breathe out anything you no longer need. And let's just get clear about what you are really needing right now. And let yourself just imagine that whatever that might be, that you've received it and you are feeling inspired, you're feeling calm, you're feeling reassured, whatever that might be, you're really letting yourself feel that right now. And knowing that that's exactly what you're going to hear today to help you move powerfully forward to magnify your miracles. Let's take one more deep breath together in gratitude, and we can begin. All right, my friends. So many of you know, if you've been listening to the podcast, that before I experienced my visitation with Mother Mary, so I had my visitation from Mother Mary in 2012, and my work changed, and I've been helping people magnify their miracles since then. But right before that, I had been living in a spiritual community that was based on the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. I lived there for 6 years, and I had been following his teachings since I read the autobiography of a yogi back in college, and I reread it back in 2002. And of course, I read it with brand new eyes because I was a brand new person so many years later. And when I read it, I was like, this is the energy that I've been looking for. This is the path that I want to follow. And so we did that. And we ended up living in a community for 6 years. And it was really an in-depth type of spiritual immersion, I guess I can call it. It definitely had good things about it. It definitely had not such good things about it. And we did end up leaving. And right after that is when Mother Mary's energy came and kind of guided my ship to be doing more of what I'm doing now. But the work of Paramahansa Yogananda is in my heart, and it really is the core of my understanding of metaphysics. It's my core of my understanding of, I didn't really start understanding the Catholicism that I was raised with until I started studying yoga the way that Yogananda taught it and understanding the metaphysics behind it, because his whole purpose was to help bridge East and West. So he came to the United States in 1920 on the first boat that could come after World War I. And he came here and he spoke, and he ended up staying here. And he is the first Indian master to stay in the United States. He's not the first one to come, but he is the first one that was able to stay. And he was here from 1920 until 1952. And he wrote many, many books and gave many, many talks. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I want you to understand the time period that he was here. Okay. So right after World War I, he was in India during World War I, living with his guru in that ashram. Then he came to America in the 20s, and 1929 came, and the stock market crashed, and there was this depression here in this country. And then right up until World War I started happening, and things started really shifting in Europe. And then, of course, the war broke out. So that was happening in the 30s until America got involved in 1941. And that's all of that was going on. And he was writing this book called Autobiography Yogi. He was writing his book on the commentary, The Second Coming of Christ. He was doing all of this while all this was happening. While people were struggling, he, who was connected to the divine, he was a fully awakened, self-realized master, grew his organization without any attachment to himself having any of the money. But he's the most successful spiritual entrepreneur, in my opinion, ever. And he was able to acquire properties and start these meditation centers in a time when who thought that that was possible. So what I'm going to be reading to you is from this little book called To Be Victorious in Life. And Yogananda, his work was a worldwide work. It's still a worldwide work. And he had many, many devotees, many followers, many students who were living in England during the Blitz, during the time where England was being bombed every day for 8 months or something like that. I don't remember if it was 1939 or 1940 exactly when that happened, but it was right around that time. And he had his meditation students reaching out to him and telling them that they would gather together in the bomb shelters or wherever it was safe, and they would do their meditation practice. And he was so inspired by their devotion, and he was so inspired by their dedication to, under these circumstances, stay steadfast. So I'm going to read this to you because I read it and I thought this is so perfect for what's going on right now. It's not about changing the outer circumstances. It's about remaining calm and in your center amidst the crash of breaking worlds, is one of the things he would say. But as you do that, your peace and your serenity affects what's going on in the world. So a lot of people have been reaching out to me and asking, what can I do? Is there something I'm supposed to do? And their energy is really going into the future with fear and worry, right? And if we put out fear and worry, we're going to be getting more fear and worry. Now, please understand that I'm not saying do nothing. If you feel called that there's something that you need to do, and I think citizens of any country, we need to do what we feel called to do, whatever that might be, whatever's going on in your particular part of the world. Whatever that is, you want to do that. But it's very different to do it from a place of fear and feeling scared, and doing it from a place of feeling calm, feeling connected, and I'm doing the dharmic thing. I'm doing the thing that I know is for me to do, and I'm going to do that thing, and I'm going to stay centered in that energy. Why is it so important? It's so important during these times, especially during times of upheaval, uncertainty. Why is it so important? Because you're not going to get your download of what's for you to do. You're not going to hear that download if your mind is always racing with worry and with fear. And you want to be available for your download. Really, really important. So I'm going to read this to you. And we want to remember that Paramahansa Yogananda is a self-realized master. So he's already awake and he already has mastered himself. So this is on page 57 of this little book, To Be Victorious in Life. This earth, which once seemed such a big place, I behold now as a tiny ball of atoms spinning in space, warmed by sunshine, with nebulous gases playing around it, a little ball of clay on which various life forms grow. The word of God, the voice of spirit, the manifestation of the infinite is in everything. The disastrous upheavals that take place on this finite sphere are caused by human selfishness, by man's inharmony with man, and with the hidden spirit in man and in all creation. Because mankind has not learned the lesson of these catastrophes, the earth continues to suffer devastating storms, earthquakes, floods, diseases, and worse than these, the clouds of war. There is a way to conquer this world, to conquer nature and to conquer life, with its poverty, disease, war, and other troubles. We must learn this way to victory. The world is marching on in a wild drama of existence. Trying to stop the raging storms, we seem no more than little ants swimming in the ocean. But do not minimize your power. The real victory consists in conquering yourself, as did Jesus Christ. His self-victory gave him power over all nature. Science approaches the mastery of nature or of life in another way, yet the initial promise of scientific discoveries often fails to yield anything permanent. The beneficial effects are felt only for a little while, and then something worse comes along to threaten man's happiness and well-being. Total victory will not come by applying the methods of science alone, because these methods deal with externals, with effects, rather than with subtle causes. The world will go on in spite of disasters, and science will again and again make new conquests, but only spiritual science can teach us the way to complete victory. And what he's talking about, so you have to remember, he's writing this in the 1930s and the 1940s. And back then, he's talking about earthquakes and what we would call climate change. Things have been happening, right? But he's also talking about world wars that's going on at the time. And he's speaking so urgently and saying, don't put your energy out there. He's not saying pretend, but he's saying that's the effect. You want to start with the cause, which is in our own minds. Okay. And you want to protect yourself the way that you can, which is by working with your own mind. Now, Yogananda taught meditation, and a lot of people don't really understand meditation. I actually have a book called Meditation is Friendship with God, based on the teachings that I learned when I was studying Yogananda and I was living at the spiritual community. And it's one of the things I'm going to be actually teaching during the Lenten season. I'm going to be teaching how to meditate. And I'm going to be combining what I've learned from Mother Mary and what I've learned from Yogananda to really help you understand East and West, because he was here to bring together East and West. So that's why his teachings are so helpful to help you understand the inner and the outer, how to combine both sides, the East and the West, the inner world and the outer world, so that they can be in harmony. If that's something that you want to do, you can reach out to me, and I'm going to be doing a couple of different episodes on the power of meditation and what we can do in these times to really take care of ourselves. But just start with focusing on your breath. If you know nothing else, just let yourself focus on your breath. And as you do that, your mind will calm down. As I said, I'll be telling you a little bit more about that next time. But some of the things I'm going to recommend to do, you have to remember your mind is wide open. So limit your access, or your intake rather, of sensationalized news. Limit that, especially if you're a highly sensitive person, and up your being out in nature, up the energy of reading things based on the law, things that are true, things that make you feel empowered. And then take inspired action in whatever political way you want to do that. If you feel inspired to do it, then do it. But do it from a place of faith and empowerment, and knowing that every action that you take has a rippling out effect. And then we all want to be collectively focused on the outcome that we desire. So if you're concerned about your country, focus on your country being happy, healthy, run well, whatever it is that you're focused on. If you're concerned about the planet, focus your mind on seeing the planet perfectly balanced, see all the systems in nature, see everything as it should be in your mind. And that's where we can focus on some of what Neville Goddard also said. Fall asleep with that energy, fall asleep letting yourself feel all is well, all is well. And then when you're calm and you're open, you'll get a download if there's something for you to do, just like Gandhi did. Gandhi went for a walk on the beach and he got his download about we're going to start collecting our own salt. And that was a big thing that helped them overthrow the English rule in India. Very peaceful. It just was salt. And he got that when he was going out for a peaceful walk by himself by the Indian Ocean. So this is the key, my friends, to let yourself be calm, to let yourself be open, and to do things to really honor your true self. All right, my friends, I hope that this inspired you. Know that I'm praying for each and every one of you, and I have your back. If there's anything that I can do to support you during this time, and if you're looking for reassurance, please reach out to me. I'm so happy to help you in any way that I can. Keep your energy really in this teaching of Yogananda and recognize that we have to start from within. And if you know anybody who would benefit from hearing this, please share this episode with them. It means the world to me when you share with people and they're helped by it. All right, my friends, always remember the key to magnifying your miracles is knowing that your miracle is already here. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.